Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's difficult to follow after such a passionate speech, but I shall attempt to do so. Mr. Deputy Speaker, every charity claims to do good work, but not all charities are good charities. Some are mismanaged and fail to deliver what they promise to their clients and to their donors. How would you define a charity as a good one? Good governance and management, competence and transparency in the way it handles its operations, and in the way it disperses its funds to its clients and serves the community. I therefore welcome and support the amendments to this bill. However, I have a few clarifications which I hope the Minister could clarify. First, the objectives of the proposed amendments are rather broad-based. One, to better protect charities and donors by strengthening the governance, accountability and transparency of charities and fundraisers. And secondly, enhancing the statutory powers of the Commissioner of Charities to maintain public trust and confidence. Charities generally work for the good of society, and they work together with state institutions to ensure that funds are channeled to the right cause or beneficiaries. Without charities, good charities, our society will be poorer. As Singapore and Singaporeans become more affluent, the culture of paying it forward and giving back to society is gaining greater traction. It is heartening, therefore, to note that fellow Singaporeans are stepping up to help those who have fallen through the cracks and those who are in dire need. Media reports of Singaporeans coming forward to help and assist both in Singapore and overseas is heartwarming, and it could take many different forms. There was a recent newspaper report of a senior citizen who was sponsored on a trip to Paris simply for him to see the Eiffel Tower by a very generous but anonymous donor. He came back realizing, however, that his own plywood version of the Eiffel Tower that he had spent many months making was in fact structurally incorrect. Amusing though this story may be, it highlights the fact that many Singaporeans are willing to give, and to different needs and different wants. They also do not want to be made known that they are the donors. That, in my view, is perhaps the mark of an altruistic donor. But it can also lead to abuse by unscrupulous canvassers of donations and the recipients themselves. Perhaps even worse, the situation may be worse if the person or persons in charge of collecting and dispersing funds are caught with their own hands in the till. As an example, many of us in this House would perhaps have worked with an organization called Project Awareness, a social initiative for the needy, and they came under the spotlight about 4 years ago. At that time, its project coordinator, an undischarged bankrupt, had his bank number listed as a repository for donations. Rightfully so, the Commissioner of Charities stepped in at the right moment and made sure that Project Awareness set their house in order and issued a stop order for them to canvass for funds while they were rectifying their internal structures. Today, Project Awareness continues to do good work and has a professional team managing their funds. It is therefore timely that we ensure that our charities and fundraising efforts are well run and with their stakeholders exercising and executing their fiduciary duties as per the rules and regulations. I welcome the amendments which have been tweaked to prevent persons of dubious standing and with integrity issues from holding key positions or indirectly managing the affairs of another charity-linked entity. In this respect, and in the view of the global security climate, charities and persons associated with them who are convicted of terrorism or its financing and or money laundering will be disqualified from positions of authority. However, I would be grateful if the Minister could share with the House if there have been such cases and how many have come under the Ministry's view. How much has been collected by these so-called charities? I'm asking this because many Singaporeans may have contributed to such charities or initiatives unwittingly, born out of emotion and parochialism. Those preying on the naivety of Singaporeans who come forward to share what they have should be taken to task. Trusts should not be penalized. Fundraising appeals are evolving as quickly as the social landscape. On the 31st of December, the Sunday Times reported that crowdfunding sites will be issued with a code of practice, and this the Minister had mentioned earlier. Could I seek clarification on when this will be specifically issued, on which date this will be specifically issued, and how much force it would have under the law to regulate these sites? By doing so, it will ensure transparency and accountability, because much needed social values when soliciting funds from the public must be upheld. It will also be made incumbent upon recipients to declare that they are not receiving state funds to alleviate their plight under the new guidelines. A recipient who is getting crowdfunding support in addition to state support may deprive another more deserving client from obtaining funds. That is where accountability and verification of facts would come in handy. The Commissioner of Charity, Dr. Ang Hak Singh, had stated very clearly, if you declare that you did not get government aid but you did, it is a misrepresentation. You did not tell people the whole picture when you asked for donations. If your need is fake, you bet I will look into the matter. By according the Commission of Charities more power, misconduct will and can be prevented, and the people's trust and faith in their fellow Singaporeans will be preserved, and the willingness to share and give more will become more widespread, and Singapore's society in general will become all the more richer. Thank you very much, and I support the amendments.